We don't need a bunch of cats in here looking in the mirror. Do I look good? I got my extra bands on. I got my other shoes on. We need more dogs.
And welcome back to the latest and greatest episode of the Shaving Points podcast. My name is Jaden May, joined as always by my co-host Quentin Crisco.
Hello.
As we break down the daunted NFC North.
Short of the Packers. We'll get to the Packers next week.
We
Just
ain't got the
'cause.
Packers.
Just because.
Trash. We can do a quick Packers. They all suck. They have a good coach. Jordan Love sucks. And that's Packers.
That's talking Packers. Let's get to those Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota Vikings, very good team last year. Maybe should have signed Aaron Rodgers. I don't know if they like J.J. McCarthy.
Someone on this podcast, not pointing fingers, thought they were going to be like number one pick territory last year.
Was that not me?
No, that was me.
I figured so. Yeah.
And I'm
Sam
still
Darnold.
amazed. I'm still kind of amazed they weren't.
I told you, Sam Darnold.
It's not even Sam Darnold as much as like
Kevin O'Connell.
it's the Brian Flores. What he did with his defense was incredible.
And, I mean, Kevin O'Connell just keeps pumping out good. I mean, they just win under Kevin O'Connell.
Good head coach, man. Good
That's all they
coaching all
do.
around. That whole staff is just they are turning into one of the better run organizations in the NFL. Under the new management structure they have there with Kwesi running,
And they have all the
GM
rings to
and-
prove it.
Yeah, ever since they sold the team way back from I think it was like Red McCombs owned it. Once they got that University of Texas blood out of there, they started to do stuff very efficiently.
Yeah, and the good thing about being a Minnesota Viking fan is that your baseball team and basketball team and hockey team always also win championships every year.
That they do.
It's the city of champions, some people call it.
City of Champions, Minneapolis, Minnesota,
St. Paul.
Twin Cities.
Yeah, all they do is win, win, win. No, I think it's the longest streak in all of the four major sports without a championship, and it's not even close, I believe.
Yeah, I believe you're right on that. It's
I know
rough.
I'm right. I just don't know how long it is.
Hey, they had the Mighty Ducks though.
Did they?
Yeah,
Coached by Charlie
Gordon
Sheen's brother.
Bombay.
Charlie Sheen's brother. little known fact.
Yeah, Emilio
Uh,
Estevez.
That's why it makes sense that he had to coach them after getting a DWI as part of community service.
It's all coming together.
When you find out he's Charlie Sheen's brother, it makes a lot more sense.
It really does. But let's get into the football.
All right.
As much as I can talk about Mighty Ducks all night.
Yep. All right. Looking at this Minnesota Vikings team, strength, absolutely. Skill positions.
Yeah, I mean, wide receiver and pass catchers. Skill positions. I agree. So you have Aaron Jones at running back too. Like it's just they're loaded up. The entire offense is pretty loaded up. I really like their O-line.
O-line's really good. So what do you think about year two, J.J. McCarthy, completely injured year one? Some mixed reports coming out of OTAs, whether or not the coaching staff is really bought in. Apparently there's some leakage going around that some of the people in the organization wanted Aaron Rodgers. Some of the people didn't. Aaron Rodgers wanted to go to Minnesota.
He just wants to be like Brett Favre.
Oh, how great of a story would that have been?
But I mean, with McCarthy, like I don't know, the guy's got a ton of raw talent. You know, like we knew that coming out of Michigan. He didn't get the chance to show it a lot at Michigan because they ran the ball so much. Like he was practically like playing for a military academy. The amount that they ran the ball versus threw, but he did show the flashes of that wild arm talent of he's quick. He's got enough speed to be a threat with his legs. And to be honest with you, after doubting that Josh Dobbs could come in and do anything, after doubting that Sam Darnold could come in and do anything, I'm done doubting Kevin O'Connell until he gives me a reason to doubt him.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I thought I was big on the J.J. McCarthy train last year. I don't know if you recall, but I was pretty stoked for him. I said he might be the best rookie in this class this year. And then I'm pretty sure a week later he tore his ACL.
Yeah, he cursed
So
him. He put the hex on him.
you have to thank me, Minnesota. But I mean, you got Sam Darnold, $100 million, so you have to be proud of that achievement.
Yeah, that's the toughest part for McCarthy in my mind. That he is replacing 4,300 yards and 35 touchdowns. Like that is a tall.
By Sam Darnold,
Yeah, like
which a lot of people didn't have faith in, which makes it even harder because they're like, well, if Sam Darnold do it, imagine what this guy can do.
Yeah, right. Like that is real pressure, I think, because I still don't fully buy that Sam Darnold is that good.
Yeah,
I just think that the team setup here is really good. So he has to produce some really good numbers to live up to it.
Yeah, for example, if that was Kirk Cousins that just did that walked through the door, who they had for 8 years, people might be like, oh, okay, well, let's give him some time. I mean, Kirk Cousins, proven veteran, top 15 quarterback in the league, been doing it a long time. If he's not that this year, we'll be okay. But the fact that it was Sam Darnold, I think puts tremendous amounts of pressure on him.
It really does. I mean, you had a fully healthy season from Justin Jefferson, which, maybe you get another. It's not like he's had wild injury issues in his career. He really only has the 1 year where he missed games, but I don't know. It's always a question when you have a guy who is that important to your offense. If you miss him for a few games, what will that do to your offense?
Yeah, absolutely. But opposite of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, well, I've always liked a lot. You've never been as high on. I think he has developed into a fine top end wide receiver too.
Like I say, I resent the idea that you say I was never that high on. I had questions. I liked him. I had questions. But in Minnesota, I don't think I'll ever get the answer to those questions. He's playing across from Justin Jefferson.
He answers the questions that need to be answered. Can he be a compliment to Justin Jefferson?
Yeah. And my questions for him in that draft were, can he be a number one? Right. So it's a different question when he's playing with Justin Jefferson.
I'll have to go back and review the tapes.
Oh, you can go review the tape. I said I like his tape. I have questions about his speed to be able to threaten the top of defenses.
Okay. Well,
and when
we're on the topic
bubble coverage over Jefferson all the time.
When we're on the topic of guys that you just absolutely do not like, TJ Hawkinson.
Oh, I don't like TJ Hawkinson.
Let's see.
I don't like TJ Hawkinson. I'll admit it when I straight up don't like a guy. I was conflicted on Jordan Addison. I'm just not a big fan of TJ Hawkinson's game. I'm just not.
You don't like a guy that goes out there and big bodies the defense and scores touchdowns and gets a lot of yards. And
I just think he's been overrated his whole career. He's a fine tight end. He's solid.
At what point do you have to keep producing to no longer is LeBron still overrated 30 years in?
No, but TJ Hawkinson ain't LeBron.
No, but it's we're 6 years into his career?
And the Detroit Lions said, oh, well, we've had enough of you. We'll trade you.
And he's had good success at Minnesota as well.
I didn't say he's a bad player. I said I don't like him. There's a difference there.
I mean, I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not like I don't like him personally or as a person. I don't know him as a person, but I don't think his game is that difference making to an offense, aside from the fact that he's good enough as a route runner and a blocker to keep you questioning. That is really what his game is rooted in, which I just think that's a replaceable tight end in my mind. Not fully replaceable. He's above that, but I don't know. He's not in that top tier tight ends, and he's not in the average tier. He's just in the middle, and I struggle with those players.
He's replaceable if you have Kevin O'Connell or Ben Johnson calling the plays.
Yeah, that's it. And it's do you really want to pay that guy? And they did, and he's producing, so it doesn't matter as long as he keeps producing.
Okay. So we've established that you hate 2 of their targets. What are your thoughts on Aaron Jones?
Love Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
I am skeptical.
I had this argument last year.
He will continue to stay healthy, but when he's on the field, he's a dog. He is such a good player. He has such incredible vision, and he still had plenty of bursts last year to capitalize on that vision.
Yeah, no, that's the exact argument I made last year when we were talking Packers about signing the Raiders running back.
Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that I was fine with Aaron Jones and going to spend the money on Josh Jacobs. It makes sense. And Aaron Jones went out and balled out this past year. So a lot to like about the offense. This is clearly just comes down to JJ McCarthy, don't you think?
JJ McCarthy and health. I mean, I have real questions about their depth.
Health, yeah. But you can say that about any team.
Not any team though. Like I have real depth questions here. Like there are some teams where
Justin Jefferson's arguably like a top 8 player in the league. I mean, you take off the best player on any team, and
usually when I'm talking depth, it's O-line. That's really what matters to me more than anything. Like I don't like Rondale Moore is good enough depth at wide receiver that I'm like, okay, like if Kevin O'Connell's going to figure that out, and I think Kevin O'Connell is a good enough play designer, play caller, offensive coach that he will be able to figure some stuff out if they lose Jefferson to be able to stay in the hunt. But on the O-line, I mean, actually, I don't know. Now that I'm looking at like Justin School and Blake Brandel are fine depth. It's really just the two rookies that I get worried about when you have two primary backups who are UDFAs, rookie UDFAs like that. That scares me, but having Justin Skule and Blake Brandel probably evens that out. So I'm probably overstating that, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I like this Minnesota. I mean, we've kind of established so far in this all these previews. I mean, having O-line depth is a luxury, not a
yeah. But if you're a playoff team who wants to be a contender, you need it, right? Unless you got Pat Mahomes.
Unless you got Pat Mahomes, is JJ McCarthy Pat Mahomes?
We'll find out, brother.
Questions to be answered.
I mean, on this O-line, though, like I think Christian Darrisaw is an absolute stud. I like Donovan Jackson in the draft this past year. I think he gives you guard depth and he provides some tackle depth too, because I think that he could kick to tackle in a pinch and fill in for you. He has super long arms. I don't think he's a difference maker as a blocker, but I think he's just going to be a good pro for a really long time. And then I liked their addition of Will Fries. I forget which way you pronounce it, but I liked that addition a lot. I know people have given it a lot of flack, saying that it was limited. Like he only played 5 games last year, and that was the only good tape he had. Brandon Thorne was out here talking about this guy's tape 2 seasons ago as being really impressive, and I went back and watched it. I thought it was pretty good 2 seasons ago too, even though the PFF grades weren't as high up. I think Will Fries is a quality addition to this O-line, and Brian O'Neill keeps being a good pro. Ryan Kelly's the main question is who plays center if he goes down, because history tells us he will go down at some point. And how will that impact who's making the line calls?
Though Juergens out there, there's another Juergens that's pretty good at center. Maybe he can figure it out.
Yeah, maybe Michael. I think he might be related to Cam.
One can only hope.
Yeah, but let's look at the defense. And frankly, I feel pretty similar to how I did last year about this defense. But after Brian Flores basically bitch slapped me last year, metaphorically, I guess, I'm skeptical to say it again.
Yeah, so they bring in Jonathan Allen. Didn't have a great season last year, but it was fine. I mean, there's just so many like established NFL players on this defense. Like just a lot of good veterans that are probably well coached, and there's nobody that jumps off the page immediately that's like, oh, this is who we need to take over a game in the fourth quarter. But there's nobody you're going to look at that's also like, oh, this person's a liability in the fourth quarter either.
You need Grenard to keep playing like he has, and Andrew Van Ginkel to keep like just being dominant in a Brian Flores defense. Like Andrew Van Ginkel might be the one player in the NFL. If I had to choose one player to pair with one defensive coordinator, it's probably Andrew Van Ginkel with Brian Flores, because every time they're together, he just balls out.
And he makes a lot of money under Brian Flores.
Yeah. There's a reason why he wants to play for
Brian Flores.
Like Andrew Van Ginkel is like, he's magic in this defense. He just finds the football. It's incredible. I've never seen anything like it for a player who I think is pretty ordinary physically. That just like his football IQ just wins out in this scheme over and over and over.
Yep. And Harrison Smith's 40 years old now? Still balling out.
He keeps doing it. Like,
How old is Harrison Smith? Somebody got mad at me a couple of weeks ago for saying somebody was old. They're like, he's only 28. And I was like, well, 28 for a DB might as well be 45.
Harrison Smith is 36.
Ah,
Born in 1989.
he's older than me.
I know, me too. That's rare nowadays. I couldn't
Oh,
play
man.
safety.
Yeah, I couldn't do it when I was
I couldn't
26.
play safety at the high school level, bro. Not even the Pop Warner level.
I played safety at Pop Warner. Yeah, just a lot of experience on this defense and
Yeah.
coached by a hell of a defensive coordinator.
They're just going to muck it up. They're going to make it dirty. I have more depth questions on the defense than the offense. And like I said, my offensive concerns are probably overblown. But defensive, I think they're pretty real. Like, I look at this D-line rotation, and I'm like, Dallas Turner got to be a dude. I look at the cornerback room, and I'm like, Jeff Okudah? Dwight McGlothern?
Jeff Okudah, top 5 pick.
Yeah, top 5 pick. Embry Thomas, like, has some NFL experience, and starting at Isaiah Rodgers and Mekhi Blackman, who still have stuff to prove in this league. Like, I'm skeptical, but at the same time, Brian Flores always seems to find a way. So, like, I can't be overly skeptical as long as they have Brian Flores.
Yeah, and, like, you talk about depth, and when I think about depth, I think about almost like you look at WAR in baseball, like wins above replacement. It's like, how many of these guys on defense are so much better than the people backing them up? I'm not sure if any of these are a huge gap between them.
Right.
Granted, you don't want to lose everybody, but I mean, how much production are you really losing if somebody goes down and gets replaced by one of these other guys? Which, in that aspect, I think they do have depth.
That's just, in my experience for my team, when I feel that way about my team, it tends to go really badly. But the Bears are also an awfully run organization, and the Vikings are a really well-run organization, so their standards are probably higher. Like, I mean, that's the only way I can explain it, I guess.
Yeah,
the last guy on the defense to mention
difference
is probably Josh Metellus, who's just kind of a Swiss Army knife for him. I think there's some contract negotiations, disputes going on right now with him, but I think he's really valuable at what this defense does.
Absolutely. All right, so looking at this team going forward, win total of 8.5. What? How many? They won 12 games last year?
14
and 3.
11-5-1 against the spread, because they were, I want to say their win total last year was like 6.5 or 7.5. Like,
and they were underdogs almost every game, it felt like.
The first half of the year, absolutely they were.
So we have a minus 135 at over 8.5, plus 115 under 8.5. Playoffs at basically even money. Division at 3-1. Super Bowl at 22-1.
I mean, I'll take plus money on making the playoffs. I think there's a very real chance 3 teams come out of the NFC North.
Yeah, I could see 3 teams coming out of this division. I think it's going to be 2. But if there is a 3rd team, I think it can absolutely be the Minnesota Vikings.
Side note, this is the first division we've seen where 3 teams have just been like really good for 5 years. Vikings 49-35 over the last 5 years. Not the Bears. They've been the best.
29-55?
Lions 44-39 over the last 5 years.
And
Packers,
2 of those
54-30 over the last 5 years. And
they're
getting their wins over the Bears.
two of those years by the Lions were terrible.
Yeah, I know.
They've only been good the past 3 years.
It's like an anomaly in the numbers right now. Like, the NFC North just has some wild numbers. But you want to get to...
I think Minnesota might be the most forgotten team in this division when you think about teams that could make a run. Think about teams that are good. Because what was it, 2-3 years ago when they won 13 games with Kirk Cousins? Or they were they 11-0 at one point, 10-0? I felt like they just couldn't fucking lose. And then they finally just got the doors blown off of them, and then ended up going 11-5 or whatever it was. I mean, it just seems like year after year they find ways to win. They're in it at the end of the year, and then they choke in the playoffs. And hopefully, JJ McCarthy is the savior to the playoff non-success.
Yeah.
And if he's not, maybe you'll be bad enough to go get you another quarterback.
Just a really well-run organization. Like their standards are really high there,
Yeah,
and it comes through the tape. But let's get to the
absolutely.
Detroit Lions.
Don't sleep on them Lions. Nobody's sleeping on the Lions anymore. I have a question about the Detroit Lions.
Shoot.
A lot of bad seasons for them, right? Like, if you're our age as a Detroit Lions fans,
Bless your heart.
you had a year or two with Stafford and Megatron where you maybe
Jim Schwartz years.
you thought you had some chances there. A couple of double-digit win seasons, not a whole lot of success outside of that. And then what in the past 5 years, just absolute dumpster fire. Then about 3 years ago, they really start turning it around. But say you're 35 years old as a Lions fan, never really seen success. Is last year the worst year as a Lions fan at 35 years old? Or was the regular season success enough to be grateful? Because they lost to a team they should have beat by 30.
Yeah, I mean, it hurts, but I mean, it would have to hurt. I can't speak from experience, but I will say from my experience as a Bears fan, the only time it has approached where I would rather have the bad team than the good team that loses in the playoffs is when they lost the Super Bowl. That's the only one that I even have the question of, because the others are just like, I'd rather have fun all year, but like losing the Super Bowl, that hurt.
But this was their. I mean, they were the favorite to come out of the NFC, even going into the playoffs,
Yeah.
even with how red hot the Eagles were. Like, it's different because the Bears were there were probably 3 other teams right there pretty even with them when they went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Colts.
They were pretty much the cream of the NFC. Like they were the top of the NFC that year.
Were they the favorites? I don't know. But I mean, they could have been.
They weren't, but like by the end of the year,
yeah,
clear.
But yeah, I mean, I just feel like I mean, as a Cowboys fan for majority of my life, there's plenty of times where we got the 1 seed and absolutely shit the bed. So I know how it feels 1,000%, and it fucking sucks.
Yeah, but let's get into this situation for the Lions a little. Their offseason changes. I mean, Ben Johnson gone. Their defense coordinator gone. Now the head coach of the Jets. Ben Johnson now the head coach of the Bears. The last time we saw a staff purged like that was the Eagles after their first Super Bowl run where they lost to the Chiefs, and the Eagles struggled that next year. Like they started off red hot and then they lost like 6 straight.
Yep. Struggled very much so. And that's kind of what brings into question Dan Campbell, the question that's, I guess, kind of been asked since he got hired. Is he a good head coach, or is he good at hiring other coaches to surround him? I think in Philadelphia, Sirianni is good at hiring a staff.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's proven that. And I'm not saying he's not a good head coach, because shit, that's half your job is putting a good staff around you. So I'll give credit where credit's due there. And we'll see if Campbell has the eye for talent. And the people in Detroit seem to be pretty excited about this OC they got coming up. So we'll see.
It was a surprise too. Like there was talk about Hank Fraley maybe becoming OC. There was talk about another guy who ended up going to New York becoming OC. It was kind of surprising that this was their choice to be OC. I don't know a ton of details about him, but it'll be interesting. And I think Dan Campbell is a hell of a head coach. I think Dan Campbell sets a tone that's hard to ignore. And like I think no matter what, even if there are schematic issues, this team's going to be feisty and probably a playoff team. Like they're too talented and too well coached to not.
Yeah. So when you look at this team, you look at the talent, and they're just littered with talent. I mean, looking at the two-headed monster in the backfield between Gibbs and Montgomery, I mean, it really doesn't get better than that in the NFL today. And then even after losing a couple of guys in the offensive line, I'll still take this O-line against just about anybody. Bookended by Taylor Decker and Panay Sewell. Panay Sewell is just an absolute monster.
Losing Frank Ragnow is huge, though, because he made the line calls, and he was probably one of the most versatile centers in the NFL from the run game perspective.
Yeah, but I mean, I trust this offensive line. I like having two veteran tackles out there, especially when one of them's Panay Sewell. Sam Laporta has been an absolute monster from the jump since they drafted him, and then obviously Amon-Ra St. Brown catches every ball that comes his way. Just an absolute energizer bunny. Just a hell of a player. Just a guy that you want playing wide receiver for a gritty team like this. And then JMO came on strong last year. I mean, I think if JMO takes a step up this year, I mean, he's going to take over the number one wide receiver on this team, which I don't think would be a bad thing at all. I mean, Amon-Ra St. Brown as a compliment, I think, is even better version of Amon-Ra St. Brown than ASB as a one, honestly. Yeah. So if JMO can really take that next step, I mean, Jared Goff, MVP.
I do have questions with Goff without Ben Johnson. I really do. I'm not sure that, like, I don't think he's
the only question I have is how many MVPs will he win?
I don't think he's going to fall back to the place where he was before he got to Detroit.
When he was going to Super Bowls?
No, in between then. Like the last few years in LA when it got kind of ugly and his mental game was just really messed up.
Always hating on my guy.
It was. He admits it. He talks about it very openly. So I mean, I think that he's older. He's really an adult now and understands how to process the failures and be able to use those to get better. So I do think that he will be better than he was when he first got to Detroit, but I do think he will take a slight step back without Ben Johnson.
Maybe. I think they're going to run the ball more without Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
I think they're going to lean on the running game. So I don't know if it's Jared Goff taking a step back or they just don't lean on him as much. But you get these two running backs going, I don't care who the quarterback is. When you have guys like Jamison Williams, Sam Laporta, Tim Patrick, and Amon-Ra St. Brown out there, I could throw it to these guys after Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery ran for 27 times in the first half.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Penny Sewell is the best run blocker in the NFL in my mind. Like, so that is all the reason right there. Tate Ratledge is going to get nasty in the trenches no matter what. I'm not sure if it'll be Ratledge or Glasgow at center, but one of those two will be there. And then Christian Mahogany will be interesting to watch for me because he only played a few games last year, but he was really good in those few games. I didn't love his tape coming out of Boston College. I thought he was a little too hectic, too all over the place, and to just like, I don't want to say too violent because you want violence, but like it felt like he was sacrificing reps to be violent, and I just wasn't sure about that. But frankly, the way I evaluate offensive linemen has kind of changed in the last year, and if it was in this year's draft, I probably would have liked him a lot more than I did when he was coming out. So
Christian Mahogany sounds like a candle they would sell at like a Bible store.
Sounds like a parish that sells wood.
Yeah.
That too. And then Taylor Decker he's more pass pro, or I guess he's actually a pretty good run blocker. I think he's not as good in pass pro. It's my understanding. But yeah, this O-line in general, they should be able to move the football on the ground. And I'm going to bring our guest in here, Danny Meehan. Danny, we are just finishing up the Detroit Lions here, but feel free to jump in whenever you feel like there's something to talk about. And I'm not sure if he can hear us yet. But anyways, let's get to the defense here.
Quick defense. Okay. Willie McNeil, fully healthy, absolute game changer. And if that dude can stay healthy, I mean, he's one of the best run stuffing defensive tackles in all of football. And then Aiden Hutchinson having a defensive player of the year type of year before he goes down. I mean, this team was just riddled with injuries last year, and on a defense that was young and emerging, maybe not quite to the level they wanted to be yet, but you could see the growth, and it just seemed like week after week after week they were losing guys, and I feel like this defense might be one of the most underrated defenses in the league if they can stay healthy going into this season. What are your thoughts on that?
This D line is nasty.
Yeah, Marcus Davenport's huge.
Nasty. I mean, I don't even care. I don't give a shit about Marcus Davenport. Like, if you can get 3 games out of him, amen, right? But like,
amen.
Aiden Hutchinson, Aleem McNeil, DJ Reader, Tyleek Williams. That is filthy. I love Tyleek coming out of Ohio State. Dude is a brick house. So you have him and DJ Reader in there on running downs. I don't know how you run the football against those two. Aleem McNeil's a good run defender on his own. And like, they can.
Dan Campbell's son, Jackless, right there, linebacker.
Wait, what?
Said Dan Campbell's son, Jackless.
Yeah. But so, I mean, I love this defensive line. I'm curious to see how Aiden Hutchinson recovers from the injury, because there were some questions about whether he was.
They were talking about him playing in the Super Bowl, and then like what he got released to resume football activities like 3 weeks ago. And we're in May, and he's just.
There was a video that came out, and people were saying like he looks slow, and I don't know. I didn't really feel that way, but like
they said that about everybody. They said that about Fat Debo.
Yeah, well, Debo did look slow, but
Debo's always slow. He just runs you.
Yeah,
he just
that was kind
you.
of my thought with it. Like, I don't know.
When has Debo ever looked fat?
He is than he was.
But
he
just freaking runs through you.
Linebackers. I mean, Alex Anzalone has really become a really nice player for them. I had my doubts about him in the past, but like he's really stepped up from the leadership standpoint, from the football IQ standpoint. He plays a really sound game, and Jack Campbell started to come into his own last year. I think he is going to be taking over as the lead linebacker this year on that defense. And then year 2, Terry and Arnold, adding DJ Reed. I like this corner.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what Terry and Arnold does. He was one of my favorite rookies in the draft last year. And then maybe we'll see a little bit more out of Rakestraw. I know you were big on him coming out of Missouri last year.
I liked him a good amount. I mean, I think that he was a steal where they got him. I didn't watch enough of him to love him.
You loved him. All right.
Always with the hyperbole.
I think your Bears fans are starting to pile in. We just jumped up about 15 viewers.
All right. Well, let's wrap up. Let's wrap up this Detroit talk. What are we thinking here, Jay?
You know me. You know how much I love the Detroit Lions. I've been the biggest proponent of the Detroit Lions over the last 5 years. You can't find a bigger Detroit fan than me. With that said,
the #1 Detroit Lions podcast on earth.
With that said, I'm taking over 10.5 wins at plus 105, and I'm sprinkling the Super Bowl at 10-1. I don't care about the OC, the DC. Give me the only thing that matters, and that's Dan Campbell and Jared Goff, baby.
Yeah, I'm leaning towards the over 10.5 at plus 105. I don't love it just because I do think they will go through some turbulence with the coaching changes and Goff being without Ben Johnson now. But ultimately, I think this team, like, out of these bets here, that's the one that makes sense. Danny, if you had to bet any of these in the lower left-hand corner, what are you thinking for the Detroit Lions?
I mean, if you want the safest money, I think the playoffs at minus 205 is pretty much the safest money. But I, like you were saying, Q, I really like the over 10.5 for wins. I think people are really not overblowing, but misconstruing like what the coordinators mean. Like, Dan Campbell is still there. The team is still really, really good. Like, Brad Holmes does the feeling himself thing in the draft a little bit. We saw it again this year with Isaac Tesla and like the 3rd round at wide receiver, which was like, you're out of your damn fool mind. But, you know.
But then he gets a guy in Miles Frazier at 171 who I thought was a 3rd round talent. Like, so I'm
right,
like,
so
okay, I guess it works.
Yeah, I guess
Hassanon was a good talent too.
But like, I think we've passed the point of Dan Campbell should be doubted kind of thing. He's earned the benefit of the doubt, in my opinion. I think 10-1 on the Super Bowl is nuts just because the Lions still have a Jared Goff problem. And this isn't me besmirching
No, come on now.
Jay is
I won't stand for it.
number one fan.
Oh, you can
Top
be alone on your boat.
top 5 quarterback.
You're out of your mind.
How
Top
many
5 quarterback.
How many Super Bowls have your quarterback?
Who are the 4? Wait, who are you dropping off the typical top 5? Are you dropping Herbo?
Who?
Herbert?
Oh, just
Herbert? Herbert may be a top 32 quarterback in this league.
Oh my God.
You're also talking to the number one Justin Herbert hater on earth.
Yeah, they coincide.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I think I'm leaving your show now.
No. I'm like the biggest Caleb Williams supporter in the land.
Oh boy.
All right. On that note,
You don't like Caleb Williams
let's get
either?
to the Bears.
Oh, I love Caleb. Caleb's I think going to be very, very good. But
Okay. Let's talk about the Bears. Welcome in, Danny Meehan. Meehan, is that correct?
Meehan, yeah, soft H.
Man, thank you so much for joining us. We love when people come and talk to us about their team. We get a little bit of Bears insight week after week with our main man Q here, but it's nice to get a little bit of a second opinion every now and then, especially from one of the hometown teams on the podcast. So thank you for joining.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm genuinely shocked I was invited, considering I'm not bald. Like, you know,
Oh yeah, we can bald it up. We can bald it up for you a little bit.
Actually, I gotta switch hats
Perfect.
anyways.
Yeah,
Now that
bald
we're
it up, bald and bearded.
oh yeah,
I used to be bald, fade, and bearded, and then the fire department called and no longer allowed to have a beard. So, there you
And so
go.
you grew
it's
your hair
okay.
back
We'll
too.
forgive you.
I couldn't grow the hair back if I wanted to. So you got a leg up on me, brother.
Oh, I could. I choose this lifestyle.
It's low maintenance, man. It really is.
All right, but Danny,
Yo,
where are your general thoughts on the Bears going into this year?
I was actually just talking about this with someone from our Q and I are in a couple of chats together, but it was basically I'm of the opinion let me make this clear. I hate losing. I hate tanking. I think tanking's for losers, and you learn how to win on the fly while building your team. I hate this idea of, oh, so-and-so got hurt, time to tank, get the best pick so you can add the most talent.
Okay, I'm not saying I think tanking is a good idea, but there is some times where I think that you're going down a road that you already know where it leads, and if you have other options available to you, you might as well see what you got because you already know where one road leads.
To an extent, I'd agree, and especially if you are playing the kids and seeing what you got in the kids versus trying to ride it out with veterans.
For example, last year, Dallas Cowboys traded a 3rd round, or 3 years ago, they traded a 3rd round pick for a quarterback, and last year their starting quarterback goes down, and they play a clear career backup for the rest of the season instead of throwing Trey Lance into the mix that you gave up pretty significant draft capital for in a year that you knew you weren't getting your starting quarterback back. So what I was always under the assumption in that scenario, throw the kid out there. I don't care if he's bad.
So in that situation, I would tend to agree. In that situation, I would actually tend to agree. It's every time something goes wrong, like no matter what it is, you have to then call for the tank. And it's to what end? And that's what offends me, especially
Chicago's probably
yes. And I've been dealing with this for every sport as a 34-year-old fan.
Okay,
for years now.
I do have one quick question then. When it comes to the Bulls, at what point do you just say I am so tired of the play-in tournament?
Before we get to the Bears, here's the thing: the Bulls tried to tank 3 times, and it didn't work.
Terrible at it.
It didn't work. That's what I'm saying. Are you to what end do you tank? Like, I get it.
Get rid of everybody. Throw me out there at point guard. I guarantee you we won't win. I guarantee you.
Jesus, this is not what I wanted to talk about, especially with the news that AK and Mark Eversley just got extended tonight.
Yeah.
This is just not what I need.
Sorry.
I don't want to do this right now.
I go on a rabbit chase every now and then. I apologize.
No need to apologize. This is my fault for being born this way.
Yeah. Why are we the way that we are?
But so we are firmly past tanking territory, I think. And I think that question comes into play more when you have, say that, like when you have a Dak Prescott or a Tony Romo at quarterback, who you know is going to be back next year and be okay, versus when you have a Justin Fields or a Caleb Williams who are hoping to become something and they're not there yet, where they need to learn how to win in the NFL.
Mm-hmm. Correct. But what I was getting at before we got derailed there, which is a typical me on a podcast derailing things within 5 minutes of being on. No more excuses. You got the golden goose coaching prospect. You've got the guy, the golden arm quarterback prospect that everybody and their mother wanted. You got the prince who was crowned, as it were. You've fixed the offensive line. You've got one of the best defensive play callers by the metrics consistently year in and year out in Dennis Allen. Win. No more excuses. I don't care if Caleb gets hurt. I don't care what it is. You win football games now.
Hell yeah, brother.
There's no more excuses. I'm so tired of it because I already started hearing some of them or seeing some of them on like the Bears Twitter verse of, oh, they've got Minnesota week 1. To be the best, you got to be the best. You got to beat the best.
JJ McCarthy's trash.
And then you got the other side of the spectrum of people like, oh, well, look what Ben Johnson's offenses did to him the last couple of years. Ben Johnson was calling plays for years 2 and 3. This is year 1. Like, let's relax on that a little bit. Like, yes, you can still win the game without embarrassing Brian Flores' defense. Like, two things can't coexist.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll start out with the offensive side of the ball because that's the sexy part of this game. And obviously you bring in, the big hitter right now is the OC hire. And then DeAndre Swift coming back. I don't know what Bears fans think about it. As an outsider, it kind of felt like there was a good chance DeAndre Swift was going to be out of there. It seemed like Ben Johnson didn't really want him in Detroit. He ends up in Chicago. Ben Johnson ends up in Chicago. I really thought, and a lot of people thought, they would go draft a running back, go trade for a running back, maybe find another home for DeAndre Swift. We know how much Ben Johnson loves the running game. So starting out, what are our thoughts on this Chicago running game right now?
I've actually talked with Q at length about this a couple times. I don't think the starting running back's on the roster still.
Okay.
So
who do you think that is via trade?
I have a couple.
J.K. Dobbins just signed. I don't know who else would still be out there.
I think it'll be via trade because Ryan Poles is historically pretty itchy going into training camp or midway through where he'll pull the trigger on like a mid-round pick for somebody. I have two. McCaffrey? No, nothing that heavy. I would think everyone's favorite boomer bust running back and Kenneth Walker is in play because I don't think that's his job in Seattle anymp
I'd go get the other guy in Seattle.
I think
they're going to.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they're giving you Charbonnet. The other one that I mental gymnastics my way through because I just loved him coming out of Notre Dame this last draft or 2 drafts ago is Audric Estime.
Yeah.
And I think he's just been pushed down the depth chart where maybe you just throw like a late round pick at him for whatever reason.
They let Pookie walk out the door with no questions asked, and then they go out and sign J.K. Dobbins. I would look into Estime. I liked Estime a lot.
And they drafted R.J. Harvey in the 3rd round.
And that's what I'm saying. Yeah. So I can gymnastics my way, and their offensive coordinator was in Denver. I can get my way through there.
I got one for you. Breece Hall.
I'm conflicted because I love Breece Hall. I just don't know
But
what his
I
cost
hate
is.
Iowa State.
Ooh, why? What did Matt Campbell do to you? Show me on this anatomically correct Lego where Matt Campbell hurt you.
Oh, I just went to Texas Tech, as did Q.
Yep.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, so Danny, I have a theory about the Bears running back situation, and this will kind of go out the door if they make a trade for any of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, as it sits, I'm thinking, and part of this is, big brain. I've been hurt before. I'm gonna get hurt again. Of maybe Ben Johnson doesn't love the run game quite as much as it seemed under Dan Campbell. And maybe he sees this golden arm quarterback, as he put it, and all these weapons that he had access to between, adding Luther Burden and adding Colston Loveland to the offense. Maybe it'll
Luther Burden,
pass-heavy offense than we expect.
Offensive Rookie of the Year, Luther Burden.
I mean,
Put some respect
theoretically,
on his
that
name.
should be the case because if Caleb Williams doesn't end up better than Jared Goff, I think something has gone terribly awry.
I think just getting to the Jared Goff level would be fine for. We're talking about the Chicago Bears quarterback.
I think
You're a Chicago Bears fan. If you had Jared Goff, he would be the greatest thing to ever happen to your franchise. I'm not putting up with this.
Using the Jared Goff offense with Caleb Williams feels like parking a Ferrari in a hobo shack. Like he's too talented to run that off to be used that way.
Chicago doesn't even deserve the hobo shack.
They don't. You're right. And that's why
I'll be honest with you. I think there's a level of coping they're going on that you're looking at how bad the running back room is, and it's just like you're trying to justify why it looks the way it does.
Okay. Like I said, it might be that I've been hurt and I expect to be hurt again.
Yeah.
Like it's good. Well, hey, look, Bears Twitter told me Kyle Monangai is faster than all his tape and his athletic testing told me. And I'm like the Kyle Monangai guy. Like that was my dude coming out of Rutgers.
In April, you were like, I love Monangai. Like, sure.
He's the next Red Rice.
Oh my God, go away. Just ugh.
I thought we were talking Rutgers running backs.
How deep can you go? Who is the slow white guy that the Scarlet Knights put in? Brian Leonard? Yeah. There we go. How deep can we go on Rutgers running backs? Just
I'm out.
I'm out too.
But Danny, I think we kind of skimmed over the Caleb Williams conversation here, though. How do you feel about Caleb's rookie year?
Impressive given some of the issues that were clearly present in the building. Underwhelming in other capacities of the shit that I was sorry, am I allowed to swear on your show? I don't know. The shit that I was very, very terrified would rear its ugly head, like the trying to be a hero when you don't need to be a hero, and taking too many sacks and holding the ball and patting the ball and trying to just do stuff like Caleb go make a play kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
That was there. He took a lot of sacks, guys. And I know that number came out if he had something like 2/3 of the pressures that he took, whatever, were just free running pressures, something like that. It doesn't excuse the fact that the ball has to get out.
Yeah, I mean, some of those free runs are on him. It's not as simple as you always block every guy. Sometimes that guy is on the quarterback to know I need to get this out before he gets to me.
Right. There's a reason why HOTS and audibles and kills all exist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Caleb.
So I think he was good overall. I think he was lackluster in places that I feared he would be lackluster in, and that makes his rookie year feel a lot worse to me than it probably should.
Yeah, I think Chicago is pretty silly. I mean, last year with Cliff Kingsbury.
Just last year.
Specifically last year with Cliff Kingsbury sitting there, obviously wanting to go try his hand at the NFL again and just letting him.
Oh, yeah, because he did so well in Texas Tech, right?
When it comes to quarterback development, yes. And he's sitting there wanting to come back to the NFL, and you just let him go coach the number 2 overall pick. Maybe just give him a call at least. I don't know. But even regardless, outside of that, I mean, I think Caleb Williams will be fine. I think it hurts whenever you see a guy like Jaden Daniels go do what he did. I was not surprised by that at all. I said it on the podcast last year. Wouldn't be shocked whatsoever if Caleb Williams has the better career and Jaden Daniels has the better rookie year. I think Jaden Daniels transferred immediately better for a 1 year type of guy. Like RG3 is kind of what I compared it to. I think Caleb Williams can absolutely still be the future, and I wouldn't be discouraged at all if I'm a Bears fan. I mean, Jay Cutler's your best quarterback of all time. So, okay, you got to feel really good about year two.
Was I informed that I was just going to be taking pot shots as a fan here the entirety of my existence on this podcast?
Do what?
I was not
against Jay Cutler, Danny.
I love Jay.
I love Jay Cutler. I love Jay Cutler. He's the top 75 quarterback of all time.
Ooh.
That's a number.
That is, in fact, a number.
Name me 74 quarterbacks better than him.
Light him up.
Right. But no, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm more worried about Rome Odunze than I am about Caleb Williams.
So Rome's biggest issue, and I think I've actually talked about this with Q off to the side, I worry that he's dumb. Mm-hmm. And
I've had the same thought.
Like, it's not like a physical talent thing. It's not
Tavon Austin
ability to play football thing. I watch him and I feel like he doesn't know what the hell is happening half the time.
Tavon Austin.
Which there is part of that last year where I go back to, well, did anyone know what was happening half the time on that offense?
He caught a ball out of, like, very clearly, 3 yards out of bounds.
I still come back to thinking, like, there's something in the processing that isn't clicking for him.
Something's not firing upstairs.
I think you can still be really good despite that.
Sure.
But, like, I do have that question as well.
Antonio Brown.
Oh, that was CTE caused by Vontaze Perfect.
Yeah. Still wasn't all there.
But overall, like, I'm pretty bullish on the wide receiver room. I think DJ Moore is going to be.
Are we worried about DJ Moore at all? It seemed like he got a little moody last year.
I think attitude-wise, you have to wonder, but I think he's bought in. I think he was just – I didn't think much of it at the time, but I think more of it now. Like, when Shane Waldron goes, it's on me, I have to be better in, like, week 2. Once you let the genie out of the bottle on that, you can't put him back in kind of thing. And I think he lost –
once in a year, and to do it week 2 is rough.
I think Luther Burden could be really good. I think there's reasons he fell to the second round that people don't really.
I love Luther Burden.
He's awesome, and I love that he's a somewhat local to Illinois kid. Like, he's from East St. Louis or whatever. But there's some stuff I got some questions about. Like, when it's clear on tape when the play isn't designed to him or he's not the first read, he quits. It's pretty evident. He doesn't care.
Was that on the tape 2 years ago? Or was that on the tape last year? Because if I was on the Missouri team, he was on last year. I don't even know if I would suit up.
Aren't you supposed to hate Mizzou? Or no, Mizzou's out of the Big 12. Sorry, they're in the SEC now. You gotta.
Oh no, I don't hate all Big 12 teams. I have very. I'm very particular in my hate.
And I'm curious how you guys feel about this. I'm a big Olamide Zacchaeus fan. I think he can play. I think he's a really good player. Like, I think he's diminutive, but I like him.
You gotta get him the ball.
Yeah, and some part of
where does he find touches in this offense?
I don't even know where Luther Burden finds touches in this offense if DJ Moore's firing, if I'm being honest. That's like, I mean, they're going to find a way. I just don't understand it yet.
Especially because Colston Loveland has to get the ball too.
Right.
Does he?
Yes.
Yeah, you drafted him at 10. You got to.
Yeah. And for some reason, I know he sucks at football, but the back of my brain remembers Miles Boykin being an absolute combine star. And it's just like, I can theoretically see him.
Absolute flyer, eh?
Yeah, big, strong, fast, freakish. You know,
does it all except play football.
He does it all except the whole playing football good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm with you on Zacchaeus. I think Zacchaeus is going to have a gadget role in this offense because Ben Johnson loves his gadget moments. And I almost wonder if Devin Duvernay is going to have some moments in screens.
That's what I was about to say. Are we not excited about Duvernay?
Do we? Okay, kind of just touch on the quarterback thing because it's staring at me. Case Keenum is your second string quarterback, right?
Yeah,
they're not playing Tyson Bagent at second string.
This was directly from the ESPN chart, so
okay.
I just took it exactly as they had it. But I imagine
where did Case Keenum go to high school?
I know he went to the Cougars college program.
Yeah, you got to be from West Texas. It's Abilene Wiley.
Sure, buddy. Yeah. Whatever you say.
It's like 30 minutes for me growing up. So,
Case Keenum, West Texas legend.
Hey, by golly, he is. We are.
is.
We are proud of our Case Keenum, brother.
But,
dude, I'm from Chicagoland. I don't have many high school football legends to write home about.
Hey, Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, I get
Ryan Tannehill, West Texas.
We still talk about Mike Allstott in Chicago. What are we doing here?
Hey, that's a Hall of Famer right there, brother. I still talk about Mike Allstott, and I was just a white guy growing up in the 90s.
So you're no longer a white guy? You just were at that point in time?
Yeah, growing up in the 90s. Now I'm an adult in the 2000s that's still white. That still loves Mike Allstott.
All right.
What is this show?
Daddy.
Yes.
Is Colson Loveland going to get more snaps than Cole Kmet?
He should.
I think so too.
I'm a Cole Kmet hater though, as it were. I maintain the best lover Cole Kmet has is the turf. He just always ends up on the ground. Why do you end up on the floor?
He's got that TJ Hawkinson trait though, where it's like he's good enough as a blocker, he's good enough in routes that he can always be a threat in play action.
Okay, so let's put it on a scale of 1 to 10, Q. Hawkinson's like a 7 out of 10 at everything.
No. According to Q, Hawkinson's the worst tight end in the league.
No, I just said in our Viking segment, he's good enough at everything, but I don't think he's actually really good at anything.
I think that's the problem. Like, if he's a 7 out of 10 on everything, which is like a C, 70%, right? Cole's like a 5.5 at everything.
See, I see it a little different. I think Kmet is really, really similar to Hawkinson, but he falls down a lot. That is the difference.
You kind of got to keep your feet as a football player, though.
You do.
You're
right. I agree.
He's always on the turf. Why are you always on the turf?
I'm pretty sure the first thing you learn in Pee Wee football is keep your feet.
Yeah.
Don't lose your feet.
Played too much baseball.
Just drilled into you from 3 years old. Don't lose your feet.
Just why are you always on the floor?
Yeah. But let's go into the O-line. What would you rate? Is Braxton Jones going to be starting confidence 0 out of 10?
1.
You think it's that strong that it's Ozzie?
I don't think they want to pay Braxton, and I don't think Braxton's healthy, and they spent a pretty high premium pick on Trapillo.
Yeah, I tend to think they spent that pick on Trapillo because they don't believe Braxton will be healthy. That's my personal
and I have very
because I was sitting there banging the table for a guard. I was like, take Tate Ratledge. She's right there.
He's staring you in the face.
I liked Ozzie, but I was not expecting a tackle. I was maybe expecting a guy who could play tackle or guard, but I was not expecting a tackle. And so when they made that pick, it's kind of well, I guess Braxton's he must still be hurt. It must be a real issue.
And I think Karan Amagaji is probably awful.
Yeah, that's the read I'm getting, which sucks because he's got tons of physical talent, but there's a lot that needs to be learned there. They don't make
people like him. Yeah, so that's the other thing Q well knows. I'm a big planet theory person. If I believe they don't make people like you, I'm more inclined to swing on you because I don't, I can fix things. I can't make you more special as a human being.
Yeah, fixer-upper.
Amagaji is a freak of nature. He's just bad at football.
The only thing that I could think that might be happening that might not just say he's awful is if Dan Rauscher came into the Bears, looked at his tape, and said, "We got to scrap all this. We need to start from ground, like
Just try
step
again.
one, and rebuild this kid from the start." And that takes 2 years plus. You know,
What's your guys' read on this Jonah Jackson weird ass extension?
They
I didn't-
had to do it. There's no way around it. I don't know.
I mean, they traded for him, and I don't know. It was
they had to.
extended him, honestly. But like, hey, Ben
Back to
Johnson
the
believes in
corner.
him, and I'm at the point where it's just like if Ben Johnson is saying do it.
I mean, you can
do
cut
it.
him after next year and save all the money and just make Bill Murray your starter. So
I mean, if Bill Murray is the savior.
Yeah.
I
Is
love
Ben
me some
Johnson-
Bill Murray. I love me some Bill Murray tape.
I know you do. Too.
Carolina Panthers last year. Oh man, he was just
Those-
mollywopping, dude.
What was it? A whole 40 snaps he played last year.
It's the worst
I
D
love-
line in football, but man, was it fun.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed him in Space Jam. So
Don't play defense.
yeah, you don't have to. You have arrived. So Ben Johnson's calling plays, right?
Yep.
Is that established?
Yep. Oh yeah, he's not giving
Yeah.
up.
So I think anything that happens up until the first snap is just trust the process, because I mean, when is year one head coach and a year two quarterback ever not worked out in Chicago Bears history?
Stop it. You just, I don't
Jay-
need this right
Jay
now.
knows our pressure points really well from me,
I
and he
don't
knows
need to do
exactly
this.
how to push them.
It's just a question.
I don't need to do this tonight. I agreed to come on for some fun, not to just be
I'm having a
tormented.
lot of fun.
All right, let's
So much
let's
fun.
close out the O line with just a little talk on like Joe Tooney,
Joe Tooney,
awesome addition.
Awesome.
best guard in the league right now. Zach Martin retired.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was an interesting add to me just because he's so much better of a pass protector than a run blocker, but like he's good at run blocking still. It's just he's really
He's good at everything.
And then like Drew Dahlman was kind of the polar opposite, where it's like this guy ain't very good at pass pro, but he can run block like nobody's business in that wide zone scheme or outside zone scheme.
I feel like Drew Dahlman was the worst kept secret in the league forever coming to Chicago. Like this guy's going to be paid to come to Chicago at some point.
And then
Yeah, I mean,
right?
overall,
Go ahead, Danny.
I was just going to say, I think overall it's going to be a solid, if not unspectacular unit. I don't think they're going to be special because I think just there's going to be some limiting factors. Jonah Jackson and rookie left tackles typically are bad.
Yeah, if Ozzy's starting, like I do temper the offense a little more. I'm with you there.
That's
But
pretty much putting a bow on it. There's not much else to say about it unless he wants to continue to kick my Bears fandom in the nards while we're here.
No, I would never do that. I mean, I would have the highest hopes right now with your quarterback situation.
Yeah, it's just you
Bears have a-
got to rub salt in the open
Bears
wounds.
have a
right?
long, rich history of quarterback greatness, so I wouldn't be worried in the slightest.
and then I do want to mention Darnell Wright because he really started playing very well down the second half of last year and started to look like a dude.
Yeah, he was awful the first 9 or 10 games, and then it got progressively better.
Yeah.
And by progressive, it's like the light bulb came on kind of thing. I'm not sure if he got healthy or what happened, but he did get very clearly better.
Yeah, I think there was a health issue somewhere in there, just based on like watching every snap of his throughout the year. It was kind of like, okay, he's moving a lot more freely now. So I do think there was something that just kind of healed up for him there. But let's look at the defense. And Danny, I know you are a big Dennis Allen guy. I'm a big Dennis Allen guy. What do you think this D line is going to look like from a schematic standpoint and a rotation standpoint?
I don't really know. Like, Dio Dangbo's selling point is that he's versatile and that he can kick into 3 technique, but you just signed a really expensive 3 technique. And Gervon Dexter, if I'm being honest, and based on my film study, and feel free to disagree, Q, but he was some of his best snaps were when he was actually rotated out to the edge last year.
Yeah, I mean, I
And-
think he gives you a lot of the similar versatility that Dio gives you, and that theoretically Shamar Turner gives you. And I don't know, when I watch the Saints,
I love Shamar's tape, man. That guy's an ass kicker. He
I-
wants all your problems.
I hate his tape and I love it at the same time. Like
He's
he's just a motherfucker. He just wants to kick you in the nuts and watch you cry. He's not actually good at football. He just wants to hurt you.
right. He's a barbarian.
Yeah.
Like, there's a football somewhere. Don't care. Kill that guy.
Yeah. But I think these guys are going to rotate around a lot because that's what Dennis Allen was doing in New Orleans. It's like, what position does Cam Jordan really play? You know,
I would expect a lot of, pseudo pressures and like blitzes where they're putting line because he never historically generates pressure from his line. It's a lot of stunts and it's a lot of different blitzes coming at you where he's throwing his ends into coverage and stuff. It's just goofy. And it makes it hard because of the pseudo pressures and whatnot, but it's not like gonna result in Dio Dangbo magically becoming a 12 sack guy, I don't think.
No, I mean, I think Dennis Allen's going to pick one of these guys to say, you are my Cam Jordan. You are my ass kicker out here who is like between Dio, Dexter, and Turner, who is going to get the onus of the sacks. But like, because he, like you said, he believes he can scheme pressure. He needs the back end talent to be able to run the man concepts that he wants and take the risks that he wants to take back there, or the calculated risks, I should say. But like on the front end, he's going to scheme it for one or two guys to eat. And like in New Orleans, that was Cam Jordan and that was Brian Brzee. Like, so I think like, look at Brzee's grade, like his PFF grades. They're in like the high 50s, low 60s, but he has like 11 sacks. Like it's very much scheme production.
He's the cleanup crew. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that pretty much covers it. I think Grady Jarrett's fun, but I think he's on the back end of his career, and this is like, you better be putting him on a pitch count kind of thing, so you get the best out of him. The linebackers in this league, not just this team, make me sad. There's no real linebackers anymore. We just have a bunch of oversized safeties masquerading as it, and they can't get off blocks. They can't stack and shed. It's all fucking run and chase, and we're trying our best. And he's a run and chase linebacker too. He's awesome at it, but he's not engaging any. I opine for the days of 2000s linebackers who are coming up and hitting you in the face, and we just don't have them anymore.
I bet you, as a Bears fan, I mean, linebackers are.
I also played linebacker, so that's
we're all linebackers as Bears fans. If I would have grown up in the Chicago area, I'd been a linebacker too. I'd tell you that.
Ruben Hippolyte sucks at football. I don't need him on my team. I don't know why he's here.
Just get him out of here.
I mean, he's
Just get him
basically
off
just like a designated blitzer or just drop quickly. Like
I actively remember Q messaging me, have you watched Ruben Hippolyte? Because I focus so much on linebackers and running backs this draft, and I go, I have no idea who Ruben Hippolyte is.
Beast. Day one starter.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
I don't think he knows what's
talent in the
happening.
linebacker room with Edwards and Edmonds, but like I don't know how much you're getting. Like
Edmonds offends my sensibilities. Edmonds should be so much better at football than
Do you want to know something fun? I'm pretty sure you can find a tweet on my X.com, the Everything app. It's all happening on X. About 4 or 5 years ago, where I said Nashawn Rapp was gonna be a Hall of Famer. So you got that going for you.
Ooh.
we do got that going for us.
Look at that. Look at what we got, guys.
He's still coming into his own. I mean, he's like,
I mean,
he's a couple of weeks away from breaking
I thought
out.
Noah Sewell was a steal when the Bears got him a couple years ago. I was like, this guy's fun, but I also thought his way to being really good was just make him like Roosevelt Colvin. Just let him pin his ears back as a strong side backer and blitz.
Yeah,
but they haven't done that.
I honestly, so when I was watching Dennis Allen's defense, like I think he makes the game really simple for his linebackers. He asks a lot of his D line on stunts, run stunts, pass stunts. He asks a lot of his secondary to be able to man up, be able to hold up long enough for the stunts to get home. The linebackers, he keeps them pretty condensed in areas except for the Mike. Like the Mike, he asks a lot of. But the other linebackers out there, like we saw Pete Werner on the field, it was like he had very distinct roles that were kind of sectioned
Pete
off.
Werner is set on fire when he plays football. He does not have regard for his body. It is awesome.
Yeah, and I think that's what he wants his linebackers. Your attack, you're just designated attackers, and that's it. Except for Demario Davis in New Orleans, he had dropping deep a lot into that deep middle.
Yeah.
But
and it's unshocking to me, just based on what you said there, Q, that he flipped his two best linebackers from the smart guy who played weak side backer under Flus and moved him to the Mike, and then put the dummy who doesn't know what's happening in front of him to weak side backer, and probably just going to say make him a missile, even though the guy is, what's my scouting term? Oh, he's contact adverse. It's a nice way of saying he doesn't want to hit you.
So let me ask you this, Danny. I'm not counting on this, to be clear, and I'm not expecting it. But Tremaine Edmonds in the NFL has never been coached by a screw you, do it coach like Dennis Allen. I'm curious how he handles that. One and two,
I think McDermott was. I think that's exactly how McDermott.
I was gonna say, you don't think McDermott's that way, Q?
I think McDermott is very. I don't know. I mean, he doesn't come across as an attacking individual to me like Dennis Allen.
No, Dennis Allen very much is. I don't care how you feel. Just go do what I say.
Yeah.
The Hijackers of 9/11 were pretty good team. I'm just gonna say it.
We're not doing this.
I'm just gonna say it.
But I'm curious to see how Edmonds reacts to that.
It's a fun thought. I just don't think Edmonds cares. We're now in year 7 or 8 of this.
Yeah,
and he's never changed.
Yeah,
I bet he's changed at least a couple of times. Taking a few showers. Might be.
This guy.
I don't know. I like my linebackers just never changing though.
All right, corners. Tyreek Stevenson, obviously the big conversation with the Bears cornerback room after the Fail Mary moment. And how do you think he bounces back from that this year?
I actually think the style of corner that he wants to play with in Dennis Allen, I think Tyreek Stevenson is like glove on hand.
Do you think
Marshawn Lattimore? I don't think he's Marshawn Lattimore, no. But I think he's really good.
His skill set is like what Marshawn Lattimore's good at.
Yeah,
he could be Dennis Allen's Marshawn Lattimore.
He could be. I think Jalen Johnson. I think Jalen Johnson's awesome too. And I've always.
Are we still trading Jalen Johnson?
No.
It's official. He's a Bear for life, or
for right
the
now,
foreseeable future.
Until I'm tired of him.
Yeah.
I also Kyler's been my guy since he came out of Washington. Like when everyone else was like Trent McDuffie rules, I'm like, I like his teammate better. I know he's a nickel only, but he plays a version of football that I just find very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah, I mean, Kyler he just got paid, right? He
just got his contract. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So he's locked up too. And then just looking at the safeties real quick too. Brisker is, I don't know. Is Brisker?
That's my guy. Brisker's my guy, dude. I think this defense missed him a lot more than anyone thought they would when he went down last year. Now, it didn't help that the world record Andrew Billings also ruptured his pec, and they went down, I believe, in back-to-back weeks, right, or within 2 weeks of each other.
Yeah. Two best run defenders on the team went down, and the run defense suffers. Who would have thought?
Go figure. But I think Brisker is kind of, for all intents and purposes, like the heart and soul of the defense. Like they all do that stupid birdie celebration that everyone loves to hate, and I just kind of laugh at it because it's so dumb. Like, this is stupid.
Yeah.
But he's very clearly looked at in a certain way, in a certain light in that locker room, and I think those guys look up to him to some capacity. And I think he matters a lot because he it's unless you've like coached or been around the game, like it's so hard to say or like quantify it, but those guys matter. Like these dudes that are tempo setters or like the lifeblood of your defense or whatever, like they just matter a lot.
Well, and so there was on our Cardinals episode, our guest talked about how Budda Baker is such a multiplier in their run defense because of how aggressively he comes downhill against outside zone run concepts and how the blocking scheme isn't accounting for him in their run fits because he's way back there. And it just made me think of Brisker in a different light when he said that, because that's something I feel like Brisker does a really strong job of as well, from depth, getting downhill to those outside run concepts and shutting them down.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And he just plays with such reckless abandon. Like, and it's clear with his injury history. He's the definition of a football player who's here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah. And hopefully, I mean, I think 2020, like, there's no player that has more pressure to succeed this year than Jaquan Brisker on this roster.
That depends, because if he stays healthy this year for at least, call it 13, 14 games, he's probably extended here.
Yeah. And then, do you have much of a thought on Kevin Byard, Danny?
I think he's here for the year. They signed him to a 2-year deal. I think he's insanely productive and insanely reliable. But I don't know. I feel like veteran safeties are so dime a dozen that you can get them kind of like off the top of the scrap heap and get kind of requisite safety play. I know that sounds really degrading and demeaning to the job in some capacity.
About running backs.
But
running backs and safeties.
Yeah, it's kind of this. He's not wrong. It's kind of the same thing. I like Byard a lot. I think his career has been stellar, but I feel like they would. I think they missed Brisker more than they would have missed Byard. Is what I'll say.
I have some questions about how much Byard really matters now. I do think in Dennis Allen's defense this year, he might matter more from a IQ standpoint, where they're putting a bit more or a lot more weight on the safeties to
a lot of onus on the safeties to do stuff.
Yeah, but I'm interested to see that, because I'm not sure he's the player that some of us Bears fans are making him out to be at this point in his career, as great as his career has been. So I'm really interested to see that, because I mean I don't think you want Jonathan Owens in the game much. I don't think you want Elijah Hicks in the game much. So like
Jonathan Biles.
Jonathan Biles. I was gonna say
put
some respect on her name.
Excuse me.
Please.
But
hey, I had a question. Go back real quick.
Yeah.
So I know you basically just go off PFF grades right here for your blue chips and everything. Why is Montez Sweat not a blue chip? I mean,
because he was awful last year.
Was he awful last year?
Chip. He's a red chip, maybe. Even in his best years, I wouldn't call him a blue chip.
I would call him a blue chip with his best years. And
by the way, I don't just go off PFF grades. If I did that for one guy.
I really like Montez. Okay, so here's what I'll say. I hated the Montez Sweat move in the moment, and I felt like I was proven wrong with how he finished down the stretch. And then
who would you have rather have gotten in that?
I would have rather kept the pick and signed Jonathan Grenard without blinking.
But you're in one now. I mean, it's all, you don't want to tank. I know it's not the same thing. I'm just giving you shit.
Yeah, I know. No, I get you. I never thought much of him in terms of like, this guy's going to get $25 million a year.
I thought Montez Sweat was fun. I thought that was a great trade.
I was excited about the trade just because I needed something with the.
You needed something to latch onto.
But like the contract, it was what it was. It's just like that's the cost of getting a red chip edge rusher. You know, like that is what it is in my mind.
He had 5 sacks last year or something.
Last year was rough.
Well, what if he comes back? What if he comes back this next year?
Then I'll shut up. But to this point, I've been right about that trade.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he's ever been a blue chip player. So
I don't think so either.
I think he's a red chip. He is below that blue. He's a good player, not a great player.
So
I actually think I'm
betting Montez Sweat for defensive player of the year.
Do it. You won't, coward.
Don't tell me. You don't even want to know some of the bets I have right now.
Yeah, he'll do it.
Oh, I'm sure he will. He doesn't seem scared of the bet that seems dumb.
But I I got Caleb Williams MVP.
A wise man once said, "Scared money don't make money."
Hey, you're preaching to the choir, brother.
But Danny,
I just lost so many futures tonight on NHL with the Florida Panthers winning the cup about 10 minutes ago. So I understand that completely. All right. So when it comes to y'all Chicago Bears,
Ooh.
what are we thinking this year? 8.5 win total, plus 185, 190 to make the playoffs, 5-1, 6-1 to win the division, and 42-1 for a Super Bowl. Where
I'll
are we
be
putting
honest.
our money?
I'm shocked that they're plus odds to go over 8.5. I think the baseline.
Oh,
should
here
be
we go.
9.
I'm just kidding.
But
I said last year they were going to win 14 games. So,
oh my god.
I fucking love Caleb Williams.
I would say over. I think 9 or 10 is probably what the expectation should be. But I understand why Vegas set it at 8.5. It's kind of prove it to me. You are what you prove to me. You are over and over again until you show me otherwise, kind of thing.
Yeah, in the last 5 years, you've almost won 30 games, so that's pretty good.
They're doing their best. They're out here trying.
We don't talk about the losses.
No, we talk about the wins.
Yeah, a couple more wins, and you'll be over 30.
So I'm saying they buck that trend real fast. Like
way over.
I see this as like
13
Matt
wins.
Nagy's first year type stuff. I really think this team's going to be a lot of fun. I don't know if they'll get 12, 13, but I think they win 11 games. Give me the over 8.5. Give me playoffs.
I had them 11
and division.
You know what people don't talk about during those Matt Nagy years is that they passed on Pat Mahomes and Deshaun Watson to take Trubisky at 2. Like
this is assault.
They traded. It just never gets talked about. I have to bring it up.
Yeah, he has to bring it up every time the Bears are talked about, actually.
No,
Contractually.
I wouldn't do that.
He's contractually obligated by the Shaving Points podcast.
Yeah, because people forget that the same year that they traded up. No, what people really forget is that
you guys should really change your podcast name to the Jonte Porter podcast because he was Shaving Points.
Yeah, that'd be incredible. But no, people really don't talk about the fact that everybody talked about how great the 49ers were, and they went and fucking took Solomon Thomas when they greatly needed a quarterback who is now on the Cowboys 8 years later. So could have been Mitch Trubisky.
Mitchell Trubinsky.
He would have had a better career in San Francisco than Solomon Thomas did. And everybody likes to talk about John Lynch and the 49ers being these geniuses. Solomon Thomas was trash.
Yes, he was.
So let's get the Bears might not have Patrick Mahomes, but the 49ers drafted Solomon Thomas, and we'll never let them forget it.
Jaguars took Leonard Fournette too.
Playoff winning, Super Bowl champion.
But I mean, I just think this team is going to be really freaking good. I don't think they're going to win.
I'm hammering the over.
I think they're way too inexperienced to win playoff games when it comes to that. But
Caleb Williams MVP.
I think this is going to be a fun year, and last year I was more skeptical of it. I think I had them at like 9 wins, but which was, you have to be optimistic this time of year. You need to get through somehow. But
Caleb Williams 28-1 to win MVP. That's free money.
Basically, I look at it as like Matt Nagy came in year
28-1.
No one knew what his offense was going to be per se, and he was able to generate wins off that alone. Year 2, it came crumbling back down because of that, but because he couldn't adjust. I think Ben Johnson can have a similar effect where no one knows what this offense is going to be. It's hard to scout it.
I could see that point of view.
Yeah.
Just as long as he remembers he was brought here to run the I formation because it might help you win the football game.
And also, Ben Johnson has to remember this isn't the Detroit Lions offensive line, and you ain't got Jared Goff back there slinging the rock. So,
oh good lord! I would not sprinkle on the division. Playoffs, I might. Division, no way. I can't.
At plus 550.
Yeah, 6-1. I mean, I'll throw 5 units down on it. Nothing crazy.
I don't think I could do. I feel like I'd just be giving my money away.
I love that.
I've done
That's how you
more.
win money.
I've made worse bets.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
so have I. Shout out to Mitch Trubisky MVP.
Oh yeah, I had that.
I had Patrick Mahomes MVP 128-1.
You did? I saw it.
Good for you, buddy. That's strong work. Strong work.
Yeah.
Jay was the most confident man on earth in Patrick Mahomes.
Oh yeah.
Texas Tech fandom rides hard.
You didn't like him?
I liked him.
Not for the Bears. I said
No, I was
Bear- I
terrified
said
that the
Bears
Bears
should
would
take him.
destroy my favorite college's best player of all time, and that I would be forever conflicted by it. That's what I was scared of.
Yeah. Well, that'll do it. It was.
Thanks for having me, guys.
We need to talk about the Packers real quick. Green Bay Packers. I'm gonna just say they're gonna go 2-15. Jordan Love throws 46 interceptions. Matt LaFleur gets fired and gets hired by the Dallas Cowboys. Then everything is right in the world.
Brian Schottenheimer, one and done, baby.
Oh, if Brian Schottenheimer's one and done, I'm back to being a Cowboys fan in a heartbeat.
All right, that's talking Green Bay Packers.
That's talking Green Bay. Fuck the Packers.
All right, guys. I got a jet. All right.
All right.
right,
Thank you
thank
so much
you,
for
Danny.
joining.
Thanks for having me, guys. Talk to you.
All right, so Jay, we'll touch on Packers next week.
I think we're good.
I'll make a 30-second video out of it. It'll be great.
No, we can talk about him a little bit. I mean, Matthew Golden was a stupid pick. Jaden Reed, fuck me in fantasy. Romeo Dobbs, Josh Jacobs, still not worth the money you paid him. So yeah, we can get into it next week a little bit.
Yeah, let's hit it next week. While we're
Just hitting the high points here.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
all right. Well, that was a good episode.
I think so.
I was nice to everybody this week. Still don't like the Broncos. I thought about apologizing for that, but I think I'm doubling down.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't double down on your 3-win take, but like,
I might double
there's
down.
a very real chance they'll be bad.
2 wins.
There's a very real chance they'll be bad. I just don't
2
think
wins.
it's as dire as he made it.
Yeah, I mean, my main thing was that they're coached by Mike McCarthy, so I mean they're going to win 8 to 9 games, and
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't connect those sooner. So
But don't worry, that video will be going out tomorrow, and there will be tons of hate comments on it. I'm sure.
Hey, just give me as many comments at the end of the season as you are at the beginning, and I'll be happy.
Hey,
I have a pretty good track record on here.
yeah,
You can go back, go watch the footage.
yeah. No one does that though.
They don't. All right, thank you all so much. What are we doing next week? AFC North?
AFC North and the Packers.
AFC North. Oh man. We get to talk Aaron Rodgers next week and the Packers?
It's gonna be a long episode. AFC North, there's a lot to talk about.
Oh man, Joe Burrow?
Mm-hmm.
Is JJ Watt a Steeler for life or is he gone? Find out next week.
Find out next week. Adios.
And when you knock us down, on the way up, we're going to bite a kneecap off. And then it's going to take 2 more shots to knock us down. And on the way up, we're going to take your other kneecap. Before long, we're going to be the last one standing.